Hey guys, so I have Sector 4 for you today in this Conquest series we are playing right now to unlock Queen Amidala. So this is going to be sort of straightforward. This sector is a little bit different, but before we hop into it, as usual, I do want to say thank you so much to my patrons. I just truly appreciate your support. It does not go unnoticed. And now we can have a look at these feats and talk a little bit about Sector 4. So this sector, there isn't a lot of overlap, unfortunately. You've got defeat 50 enemies with Imperial Trooper units, attempt to inflict ability block 60 times, gain stealth 120 times, and then win at least 14 battles with a full squad of Rebel units. So there are a couple of things that we can mix and match here, but most of it doesn't double dip well together, unfortunately. And then we've got some really interesting boss feats. So I'm going to show you the footage. We'll go over what I'm using, and that'll be that. All right, so I want to start with ability block and stealth in this sector, and I'm going to go in on a bounty hunter node here. I like using them since they have that revive with the Mandalorian, whatever you want to call it. We've got 2 ability blocks already and 4 stealth just from doing the first couple of nodes. Nothing crazy, but I like to use a Jedi Master Luke team if possible for ability block. These are the discs that I have right now that I'm using, and I'm going to go in with my Jedi Master Luke team. Since he has the AoE ability block, I'm going to take Hermit Yoda and Shock for stealth because they will help with that. You can see it here. And then you've got Jedi Knight Luke and Jedi Knight Cal. You don't necessarily need Jedi Knight Cal if you don't have him, like sub in another Jedi. I would recommend, if you can, subbing in an attacker because Shock is able to put stealth on them with her first special if they are an attacker. So you want to keep that in mind. Another thing you could do is you could add in Bastilla Shan as a 5th and constantly call her to assist with Jedi Master Luke's leadership ability. She has ability block on her basic. So if you're doing that, then that's even more ability blocks that way. And I did eventually do that later on in the sector. So it is an idea if you want to sub in her, if you don't have Cal or whatever the case may be. So Hermit Yoda is going to give stealth when he's doing his master's training. He'll get stealth to himself, and then Shock will give stealth out when she uses her first special, and she has to target an ally that is an attacker. So you can see I targeted Jedi Knight Cal there. He gets stealth, and that's why we're adding a few, not crazy amounts, but a few that way while we're also working on ability block. So like I said, we were at 2 and 4 before this. It's not a crazy amount, but we're up to 9 and 7. Okay, so we also want to start working on Rebels since we need 14 wins with them. And at least with Rebels, we can also double dip on ability block and stealth at the same time. So the first team that I'm going to use will double dip on stealth. Same discs set up from before. You're going to go in with your standard CLS team. It's nothing crazy in terms of the amount of stealth you're getting because C3PO can give it to himself. And then it's a full Rebel squad, so you are set that way. If you really wanted to, you could sub in old Ben, since he also has the Rebel tag on your CLS squad, and he would have the AoE ability block, so you could do something like that. I personally don't think it's necessary, especially if you have Jedi Master Luke. You're able to get them farmed up pretty quickly using him, so it's really dealer's choice. But overall, it's just your basic CLS team. They're going to get you the Rebel win. They're going to get you a few stealths this way, and you can make your way through. Obviously, I'm going in against the Bounty Hunter squad. I also really like using CLS against Bad Batch nodes. You just shoot Echo and, basically win from there. So if you come across a Bad Batch node, that's kind of my go-to, and then that way you can rack up a Rebel win that way as well. So if we have a look now, we should have gotten a couple of more stealths from C3PO. You have to use his second special to do it. Yeah. And then a tick towards Rebel wins. Okay. And then, of course, if you have your Leia squad ready to go, that pretty much is the epitome of your rebel teams right there. You're going to get ability block with Old Ben on it, and you'll get stealth as well. So you'll be able to do 3 of these feats at once with Leia if you've got her unlocked. And it's basically just pick a team and go with Leia, to be honest. So that will do that for Rebels. It's super straightforward. I like to manually play it so that I can make sure I'm getting as much ability block and stealth out there as possible. Nothing crazy, just so that I'm not having to clean up too much at the end of the sector. So if we have a look, now we're up a little bit more. Okay. So let's look now at some Imperial Trooper kills. So you could try and cheese this a little bit with like a Traya lead against Geos if you wanted to. I personally just decided to go ahead with my discs because I've got Zealous Ambition, and a bunch of the troopers are support if you're going with your standard trooper build. And I'm going to go against a Night Sister node because you could theoretically get some more kills if you keep Daka alive. So I want to use the standard Veers build, like I was saying. 4 of these troopers are support characters. So the only one that is not is Dark Trooper. Veers, Stark, Range, and Piet are all support. So they're going to take advantage of Zealous Ambition like absolutely crazy. And you'll get stealth here from Piet giving the mark onto Dark Trooper. So you'll get a tick for that. I don't really care that Dark Troopers died. This isn't going to be clean, but again, it's totally fine. You do the AoE and you basically just wreck everybody. If you wanted to try to keep Daka alive, you could just do single targets if you really want to, so she could try to revive some people for you to get more kills. But because you've got the Zealous Ambition on, they're going to hit a lot harder, and it just makes these kills so much more easier just going in with a straight Veers team. You could also do, if you have Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, you could do an Imperial Remnant team. That would also theoretically get you stealth. It is contingent upon the troopers. He gets it from his unique. It's contingent upon if the troopers die or not. And I believe Scout Trooper also gives it out with one of her specials. So you do get a few stealths this way. The thing you want to keep in mind is that even though Dark Trooper Moff Gideon is on this team and he's an Imperial Remnant and it's all great, he technically is not tagged as an Imperial Trooper. So any kills by him would not count. So you want to make sure that all of your other troopers on the team are the ones that are actually doing the killing for you. Pretty standard and straightforward. But again, just to put that out there so you're not wondering why, you only got credited for 3 or whatever the case may be. If you're using this squad, keep in mind that he doesn't have the trooper tag, so anything from him won't count, and you'll want everyone else to do it for you. I'm not too concerned, to be honest with you, about troopers dying here, since Dark Trooper Moff Gideon can just revive them. So I'm not really upset if anyone dies. I'm not paranoid about being clean with this. Also, I just want to get the kills done with them as much as possible. And it does end up being totally fine, you'll see here. And we get credited for another 5 kills. So it's pretty straightforward. I'm planning to just use them to farm some kills on the Datacron node, to be totally honest with you. And then that way it will be twofold, because I'll get the Datacron materials and work on the trooper kills at the end of the day. Okay. So super straightforward. That's the trooper kills and a little bit of stealth. And then that way we can move on. So the other team that I want to look at for stealth, so you can see I'm at 27 here. I'm not going to double dip on this. And these again are the discs I'm using. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you right now that I don't win this fight. And to be honest with you, I also don't care that I don't win, because I just want stealth. So we can dig way, way, way back into the old meta and go with a Darth Maul lead and just use basically whatever troopers or whatever Sith allies you want with your Darth Maul to get stealth this way. I am going to take Dooku because he's got a stealth on his special. And I also want to take Sith Assassin because she has a stealth as well. And then I'm basically just going to take other Sith with me and Again, I don't really care how this plays out because of his leadership ability. You're just going to be getting stealth back over and over again. I liked going against troopers as an option, or clone troopers specifically, since they do tend to crit. And that way you're triggering that leadership ability on you and able to get stealth again. So like I said, I'm going to lose this. Doesn't matter. They do eventually just steamroll me, but we get a few more stealths as we're going here. You don't want to forfeit. Just let the battle end in a defeat, so you get credit for the stealth. I was at 27. Now I'm up to 54. So I got 27 in one fight. I'm not mad about it. Okay, let's look at this mini boss. We do have to do this twice because one is Jedi Knight Cal surviving and one is our typical no Force users feat. And obviously Jedi Knight Cal is a Force user. So I am going to take Jedi Master Luke. We're going to get some ability block this way. I am going to take Shock for some stealth if she's targeting Jedi Knight Cal. And I chose to bring Jolie just as a safety net in case I did have to revive Jedi Knight Cal. I get a little antsy whenever I see like a scoundrel boss node. So I just wanted to have a security blanket, essentially. But there really isn't anything too fancy here. I'm basically just trying to get my ult as soon as possible so I can get through this. I want to get rid of IG-11 as soon as possible because I find him to be super annoying with his stupid friggin' heals. The only thing I did do specifically was wait to use Shock's middle ability to cleanse all the debuffs off myself. I wanted to not waste it and just arbitrarily give Jedi Knight Cal stealth. I wanted to make sure I was cleansing when I did it, and I just didn't want to waste it. And then you basically are just going with it, and it's totally fine as long as you keep Jedi Knight Cal there. You're good. Jedi Master Luke's going to taunt. If he at all got low or his protection started to get eaten away, then I would just use the Jedi Master Luke leadership ability on him to assist so that he's healing a little bit that way at the same time as well. But it really isn't worrisome at all, to be honest. So this is going to be the first half of the mini boss because we need to do Jedi Knight Cal surviving. And then we also have to do our no Force users. So really straightforward. Get the stealth on him at the end there from Shock. And it's easy. That way he survives. We get that ticked. And now we can go and do our no Force users. And we also get some ability block and some stealth at the same time. Okay, so the next one, no Force users. The first team that I thought of to use here would be Jabba. If you don't have him, I will show you another team as well. But I like this one because you can also get a little bit of stealth here from Lando, from Skiff Lando specifically. You have to target Boosh when you're using his special to do it, but you will give her stealth, and then that way we can double dip a little bit. The other thing that I like with this, because I'm still running the 2 Zealous Ambition discs on my squad, Jabba is a support character. So when he does his AoE with the bombs, he ends up just hitting really hard. And you can basically not really sweat or worry about anything happening in this. Not that it really matters because no one needs to survive specifically, but it does give you like an added safety or just feeling like a little bit more secure that it's going to be a 3-star win using him. And then obviously working towards his ult, and you can just, have the Rancor eat whoever you want at the end, eat whoever is the healthiest, I guess. Again, I want to go after Kat once Bam's gone just because I'm paranoid about her annihilating somebody and getting rid of IG-11, and then just having Jabba use his ult at the end if necessary. Okay, so really straightforward. That's that for Jabba. If you don't have him unlocked, though, and you do want to do this for your no Jedi, Sith, Force users, etc., there is another team here that I will show you. So this team is on my account, not the Professor X one. And this is the disc setup that I have right now. So 2 stacking offense, 2 Zealous Ambition. Those were the key points or key parts of the build for me personally. Fortified obviously is a really, really strong disc that you should definitely use if you want the added security. And then you just want no Jedi, Sith, unaligned Force users. So we're going to go in with the typical Beskar Mando team. And I know you're like, Sarah, it's not going to work. No volatile accelerator, etc. It does work. It's fantastic because Dash is just going to kill everything. So doesn't really matter, in my opinion, who you shoot, but I like to shoot Bam just to delay him going into the Whistling Bird stance for as long as possible. And then in terms of your own Bam, you are pretty much keeping him there to put damage immunity out on people. So he is going to keep your team alive, and Dash is just going to AoE everyone to death. It's beautiful, and I love it, and everyone should just do it. It doesn't really matter about Nest being there. I like to keep her stunned if possible, just so she doesn't counter anybody to death. But again, just don't go into Whistling Birds with your own Bam. That way you can use his damage immunity if you need to. And just keeping her stunned if possible is pretty nice. And Dash will just kill her, and you're good. So no Jedi, Sith, Force users this way if you don't have Jabba. Okay, so we're at the boss. We have to do this feat twice because it's light side and Dark Trooper Moff surviving. They all are going to start with 3 stacks of Beskar armor. And I'm just going to tell you now, this is my account. These are the discs. I hate this boss. It is a pain in the ass. I hate it. So that being said, let's do light side first because I think that is a little bit more straightforward. I am going to do Jedi Master Kenobi with Cat. I don't love that I'm doing a Galactic Legend, but it's the most straightforward way to get through this without wanting to, chuck your phone against a wall. So the taunt is going to bounce around a little bit, and I am going to speed this up because it takes 5 bajillion years. But it pretty much is almost always on Armorer, at least what I've seen doing this over and over again. You're not going to do your instant kill with Cat right away. We want to wait, and we want to get our ultimate from Jedi Master Kenobi, and you're going to pop it as soon as possible. So you want to get into that early ult. I like having Padme here since she can cleanse. She's another cleanse on top of Kenobi, but she's also support. So with those Zealous Ambition discs, she will hit hard. Again, you're not going to annihilate armor. You want to pop your ult early like we just did, and then when we circle back around to Cat, now that we can ignore the taunt, we're going to kill Maul. Once you've killed Maul, it is significantly smoother, and then you can just go in afterwards and start taking them down from there. I did try to go in after Armorer as soon as I could afterwards so that we could kind of get rid of them putting armor shred on us. But again, once you've gotten through that bit, it's a little steadier and you can pick away at them much smoother that way. So again, you want your early ult, kill Maul with Cat's Annihilate. Don't use it early right away on Armorer. Don't use it on Bow. Use it on Maul. And then you'll be set. You can 3-star and you'll get the light side feat this way. This was the easiest way that I could think of doing it without, wanting to break my phone. Now, in terms of Dark Trooper Moff Gideon surviving, this one was annoying. So these are the discs that I'm using. I've got 3 Zealous Ambition discs, fortified, and I put a tether tech on to give them all ability block at the start. It's just like an added security. I don't think you need it, but it gave me an added security. So this is the team I'm going to use. This is the only team I could get to work. So I did see that Bit Dynasty used this. My battle goes different from his, so I want to show it anyway. But it was the only one that would work. Slicker wouldn't work. Bam wouldn't work. Dash wouldn't work. Nothing was working. Imperial Remnants weren't working. It was just absolutely ridiculous to get through Maul. So the idea here is to get Thrawn to swap his turn meter to Traya so that you can isolate Armorer and then fracture Maul. As you can see, I can't isolate because my cooldowns are up. So I'm pretty much just biding my time until Traya gets her cooldown down. back down so that I can do the isolate. I didn't want to waste the fracture on Armorer because I really wanted to fracture Maul so that he would stop just wrecking shit everywhere, as you can see. So obviously this is where my battle went a little bit differently from Bits because he didn't have that cooldown issue that I was having, which was great. So if you don't have that, then kudos. And it'll be a lot smoother for you. But the main thing here was just trying to circle back around to it, and you'll see here why it still doesn't work for me, but we managed to get through it. The good thing here is Thrawn is a support character and Traya is a support character, so they're both going to hit really hard from the Zealous Ambition discs. And I'm basically just draining whenever I can, hoping we can get Armorer to die. And now you can see Bo is taunting, which is just absolutely ridiculous. So I chose, since she was taunting, to isolate Bo, which just made Armorer taunt, and clearly that was a mistake. And at this point, I was just absolutely annoyed and pissed off. So clearly it's not going to plan, but it is going to work. Dark Trooper, Moff, whatever you want to call him, is going to survive. The key thing to keep in mind with him is you don't want to use his second special because that gives him taunt. So if you can leave it so that only Malik is the character that's taunting, at least that kind of directs some of the hits that way, and you can kind of have, Moff Gideon off to the side there. So obviously I've annihilated Armorer, and now we can just go in and kill Maul. And you can see Thrawn and Traya are actually going to start hitting really hard now because I'm going to use them properly. And with the Zealous Ambition discs, they'll be able to just start doing a lot of damage that way. So again, really straightforward. And this was the only squad I could get to work. Like I said, I tried an Imperial Remnant squad. I tried with Slicker. I really wanted to not use a GL. I tried with Bam. I tried with Dash. It just was not working in terms of getting past the taunt fast enough. I tried with Bounty Hunters, like just trying to snipe out Maul as soon as possible. And this was the best solution. So if you can go ahead with it, and hopefully that will work for you guys as well. All right, so that was Sector 4. It is a real pain in the ass to get through the Maul boss, and just once you're through it, it's a lot better. But my best tip of advice is, if you can't get those feats working right now and on your way through, just use a squad that can beat it. If you have to use a Galactic Legend, if you have to do whatever you can to get through that squad, don't worry about the feats at the moment. Go back to it after you've gone through Sector 5, because you might be able to pick up a disc in Sector 5 that you need, or anything like that, or a consumable, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so like I said, that's all of Sector 4. We're done. I will be back probably this afternoon, this early evening with Sector 5. I want to get it out today. So that will be the end of this Conquest sort of walkthrough of sorts. And hopefully this was helpful. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Truly appreciate it.